Hey everybody, welcome to our weekly Nikke story review. Recap, I guess. So we're now on chapter 20 of the main story, which is Fire Dragon. Dun dun dun. It's the hunt for Nihilister. Nihilister. So all the heretics, or at least the progenitor ones, I think I called something later, I'm trying to remember, but Nihilister, Modernia, and the other ones we haven't met yet. They're all based on like philosophies, like political philosophies, I want to say, or not political, just kind of like philosophical concepts, right? So Modernia is modernism, Nihilister is nihilism. Obviously, there's other ones. Anyway, so that's fun. But so we start the operation. Cecil, I think her name's Cecil. Chechil. That's how we say it in Italian. Anyway, she's going to be the operator. I'm going to call her Cecil. She explains the mission, how it's to take down Nihilister. Also, by the way, Nihilister can fly because she's a fire dragon, obviously. Johann's group will be working alongside us. As we're headed out, Noah teases us, tells us we're pieces of shit and whatnot. And then Neon and Ein snap back at her. And then we check up with Doro after kind of like the back and forth. And she's like, no, everything's going to be good. Don't worry about it. And then Johann and Heretic devastate this like group of raptors that we run into, just like utterly destroy them, like scorched earth. And Neon's like, well, that seems like a waste of your energy. And then they get some more sass clap back from like Heron and Noah about like, oh yeah, but we have unlimited energy, so we're not wasting anything. You guys are weak and pathetic. And it's like, all right, chill the fuck out. And at some point Doro's like, hey Johann, rein it in. And he's like, no, fuck you. And the only reason these motherfuckers are here is because I got Vaupus or Vaupus. And then we're like, oh yeah, but we're not going to use that. And he's like, the fuck? And so he storms off because he's acting like a little bitch. And then Cecil mentions that Nihilister is on the move, so we need to follow. A bit later, Johann closes communication with Cecil and is like, you should just fucking leave, you're going to die. And we go back and forth about fighting Nihilister, about what it means to be a commander. At some point, a small group of raptors show up, and Johann, by himself, without Inherit, completely decimates them and then keeps arguing, and everyone's like, the fuck, like all the counters and Papillion on me. So we continue to discuss why we're here, what we're doing, and then it's like, hey, the whole point is to try to avoid Vaupus, to try to talk it out and to try to like help everyone get along and whatnot. And he's like, all right, fine, if you want to come, you can come. So grudgingly we talk him into it with our charming commander skills. As we continue, Neon and Eins point out that we're going through the ringer, doing like hypothetical situations with Johann. Like he's like, what happened? What would you do in this situation? So he's doing some like real hardcore mentoring with us, running through all these scenarios and whatnot. And one of the counters, I can't remember which one, points out that they have not seen us be so impassioned about doing something like in a long while, probably since Modernia, or Marion, as we know her now, and that we're super impassioned about this and doing this exercise and stuff. And then I think Rappy mentions that it's very good for our development. Eventually we finish with like 100 scenarios, and he's like, you failed like this many scenarios, tied this many scenarios, and completed 3. You're pathetic. And then Doro's like, no one's ever passed one of your scenarios, Johann. So 3%, like 3 out of 100 is actually really good. And in fact, the last 3 scenarios he passed. So she's showing development. And then Papillion speaks up, mentions that we are a rising star in the arc and that he needs to back off. And then Isabel's like, bad call. Because Johann hates the arc. He's in like, I'm going to go step over here for a minute. And he goes over there, and then everyone's like quiet for a second. And like, because Neon and Eins also pointed out how like the arc loves us and everything. And then they're like, oh, sorry, our bad. And Doro's like, I'm going to go fix it, don't worry. So then we go over with Doro as she speaks with Johann out of the reach of everyone else's hearing. And then he's kind of like being quiet and pouty, and then she's like, you do realize why I brought them along, don't you? Because they're going to be the shield. They're going to eat up all of that delicious like Nihilister like regenerative powers, and so that we can sneak around and fucking mess her up. And if they survive, oh, what, that sounds great, but if not, whatever. And then Johann's like, you're truly a monster. and then she's like, tee-hee. And and he's like, I wonder if they would be here if they realized how much of a fucking monster you are, helping you because you're such an evil bitch. And she's like, of course they would. You know, these righteous types are easy to fool and take advantage of. And it's like, damn, there's the Doro we know and love in the future. They then come back and reestablish communication with Cecil, who chews Johann out, and he's just completely quiet while getting chewed out. And the counters think that it's because of Cecil chewing him out, but they don't realize it's because he is so like he's still kind of like fucking Doro, like he's still kind of like upset about the whole plan and the whole situation that's going on. And it's like he's like an honorable guy, so he doesn't like this whole concept that he's just gonna push us out to dry and like, you know, take advantage of our naivete and whatnot. Clearly, he's like ashamed about the whole situation. So anyway, we move on, and eventually we get to a spot where the whole area is like hot. It heats up. Doro is like, "Hey, Isabel, go up in the air." And then she whispers something into her ear, and then she's like, all right, got it. And we then see Nihilister, like a fucking comet, screeching through the sky. She smashes down on the ground and then starts powering up a fire attack. And so everyone kind of moves to get out of the way, and she catches our eye, or we catch her eye, and then she's like, wait a second. And so she does like a super jump and grabs us, picks us up. She starts talking about Chatterbox. She's like, oh, I had a little friend here named Chatterbox, and he mentioned something that I really wanted, and that it was going to be inside you. You're the man, aren't you? And then she says something about a black box, and then she blasts the other Nikkes with like a fire attack and takes off. Meanwhile, the counters, along with Papillion, grab her tail, and they fly off as well, leaving Inherit with Johann by themselves. A little bit later, Nyler slams down on the ground, sets us down somewhat gently, and then slams her tail specifically on the ground to like knock the Nikkes out, the counters and Papillion. Well, not knock them out, but like mess them up a little bit. She then gives us a choice. She's like, all right, so here's the deal. I like playing games. What is that thing from fucking Saw? Would you like to play a game? The game is we can give up our life or we can give up the life of the Nikkes, and then either way, the other people are probably going to die anyway. So like, I'm like, Nihilister, I don't think you understand the game. What the fuck? Before we can respond to her like insane choice, the counters all threaten to fight her without even if we don't command him to fight. And then Nihilister brings up the black box again, and then she sends a bunch of raptures at us instead while she watches. Later on, later on, she's like, you guys beat the raptures. I'm very impressed, actually. Oh, well, YOLO black box. I'm just going to kill everybody. So then she turns into a dragon and starts charging up her fire attack. We race over to cover where the counters and Papillion are and barely make it while she starts like just wrecking into the cover with like her fire magic, her fire breath or whatever. And we talk about how we need a plan. We need it fast. Meanwhile, back over with Inherit, they start getting into an argument about helping us or not. Specifically, Doro's like, do. And then Johann and Isabel and Heron and Noah are like, maybe we should go help them. And Dora's like, fuck them. And the rest are like, no, we're going to go help, including Johann, which she's like stunned by. And he's like, I've had a revelation. I don't hate the Ark. I hate people like you. He simply says something about, I hate the shit that is like, people don't mean anything, and like the value of life is nothing, and that like people in the Ark, like the heads of the Ark, who are like take advantage of other people and don't actually care about the lives that they're fucking up and whatnot. And she is like not pleased with this at all. Anyway, back over at the counters, they're like, status report, and everyone's alive, but everyone's like at less than 50% or like around 50% capacity. Like they're burned, their skin's jacked up, they don't know how much longer they can last. And it's like, but we can still fight. And we're like, what about Vappas? And we're like, no. And they're all like, no, we're not going to do it. Like, we have a mission, we're going to figure it out, and we're going to beat her without it, and yada yada yada. And so then we try one of those combat maneuvers that Johann taught us, and we get her pretty good. Like, she's like, holy shit, I haven't felt this much pain in like a long time. This is great. Oh well, bye pain. And then she starts using her like regenerative thing, and then the counters and Papillion and the commander are like, well, I guess we're dead. But we, as the commander, are not ready to give up yet. We have Vappas, so we're going to give it a shot. So we rush forward, and we see a bomb right where she's at, and so we're going to run up and like smash the bomb so it blasts her real good. When all of a sudden Johann shows up with Inherit, and they attack. The Vappas gun at some point around this area, I think Nihilister actually knocks it out before Inherit shows up. And then Johann picks it up, and he walks up to Nihilister and shoots her. And then she's like, you played your trump card too soon. And so she like rips her arm off and tosses it and starts shooting a new one. She's like, your Vappas couldn't get into my system. And you fools, and I'm going to destroy you, and yada yada. And then he shoots her a bunch of more times, and she laughs at him again, but then the Vappas kicks in, and she's stunned, and her regeneration stops, and she's like, right, guess I'm dead. He then mentions that the Vappas bullet was not the first bullet in the chamber, and he looks over to us and is like, sorry. Sorry, bro. Then he's like, kill her. And then Nihilister starts like bemoaning her fate and like begging for like to not be killed or whatever. And then she says something about helping the Rapture Queen. And right then Doro shows up and she's like, stop the combat. And everyone's like, the fuck? No, we're going to kill her right now. And Doro's like, shut the fuck up. Stop. And so she's like, what are you talking about? Destroy the Queen. What are you going to do? And she mentions Lilywise. Well, specifically, she mentions Lilith. But Lilith is a nickname for Lilywise, who's one of the goddess squad, the one who like disappeared that we don't know like anything about. Besides, she was like the first Nikke ever invented. And then Nylaster says something about using her body to destroy the queen, and then also something about the previous queen. So there's multiple queens, and there's discussion. Then there's like a further discussion with Johan and Inherit and Doro about whether they should kill her or not. And at that point, our new third heretic shows up, Liberato, I think is how you pronounce her name. She's like, she woke up. And she's like very upset about the whole situation because she likes to just sleep in water and be quiet. And then everyone, as soon as she shows up, everyone's like, oh fuck, she's a lot more powerful than Nylaster, like a lot. And she's just like, what's going on? And then she grabs Nylaster and starts to like kind of float away, it seems. And then someone says something to her, and then Johan's like, shut it and let her go. We're not gonna do shit, man. Like this is like, he's like Nylaster was just the tip of the iceberg. Like this fucking shit is gonna get us all killed if we don't just let her go. And then Liberato turns around and says, that's very smart of you, or like, good call. And then she like meanders out of there. And then we have a little bit more conversation about Liberato is clearly like on a whole different level than Nylaster. Like Nylaster is like a bitch in comparison. And at some point, Liberato, before she leaves, she mentions Eden, and she's like, if you wake me up again, that little place of Eden is going to be completely destroyed. Like I'm like, I don't care if it's there because it doesn't mean anything. But if you bother me again with any of this trivial bullshit, it might be the end of that. And they're like, yeah, they're like, ruh-roh. Anyway, so we go back to Eden, and then we're pretty discontent with how everything turned out and whatnot. And the counters are like, hey, let's just leave them alone and let them kind of figure it out. But as we're kind of moping and being sadapodibus, Cecil wanders up, and she's like, hey, I was reviewing some of the comms log, and I think you need a health check. I have some concerns about this like black box situation that they were talking about. And we're like, I don't know. And she's like, come on, it's just a health check. Besides, I think you have RHX blood. And we're like, oh, do you think? And then we like recall like the whole thing with Anderson, and we had like a blood transfusion, all that stuff, because guess what? RHX blood is not only super rare, but it's also it's used to turn, like, it's where Vapus comes from. So if we have that kind of blood, then we can like utilize it to make more Vapus. And so we're like, okay, let's do it. So we do. Cecil like does the whole thing. She's like, yep, you definitely have RHX blood. And then she like destroys the records. And she's like, hey, you should probably not tell anybody about this, especially Papillion. And we're like, yeah, that's probably a good idea. Since she works for Birmingham and the central government can't be trusted. But she also tells us like, you really shouldn't be telling the fuck, Park Street. Oh, okay. She also, sorry, someone wrote something on my window. She also mentions that we shouldn't be telling the counters or anyone else as well. And we're like, okay. So then we head out, and as we pass Johan, who's coming in, we're like, hey, thanks for saving us. And then he's like, hey, I was once an up-and-coming star in the Ark as well. And we're like, what? And he's like, yeah, a long time ago. And it seems like he's like 50 years old or more, or he's been a commander for like at least 50 years, because he says something about like the Reclamation, and the Reclamation happened like a long time ago. Anyway, and he's like our superior technically, even though he's not part of the Ark anymore. And we're like, huh, thanks, old man. And he's like, don't ever fucking do that again. Meanwhile, Papillion is trying to contact the Ark. No response, though. Dora rolls up and is like, oh, I see, you're trying to contact the Ark. And then Papillion's like, oh, no, I'm not. And then Dora's like, listen here, you little bitch. You're going to be my slave now, essentially. You're going to do what I say. I'll let you contact the Ark, but everything's got to go through me first. And Papillion's like, okay. I guess I'm fucked. And then Dora's like, ooh, hoo, 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 hoo. And she's like, I should kill you, but I won't. It's like, okay. And then Doro kind of meanders out of there, and Papillion's like, God damn it. This crazy bitch. Meanwhile, over with Nylaster, she's fuming, talking to herself and stuff, and it wakes up Liberato, and she's like, hey, you better shut the fuck up, or it's gonna be a real pain in the ass for you. And then Nylaster's like, okay, calm down. And then they bring up like the current Rapture Queen again. And had the current Rapture Queen be very interested in like what she was saying. Nylaster was talking to Doro about, and Nylaster's like, "Oh no, I was just trying to stall for time because I knew you were going to be there, and like I was trying to do something. You know, it was all for the Rapture Queen." Because Nylaster, something else she mentioned when she was talking about destroying the Rapture Queen is that she spent a lot of time thinking about it because she also wants to destroy the Rapture Queen for like her own motivation or whatever. And Liberato's like, well, we'll see. Because Nylaster like does some hard deflecting. And she's like, I really don't give a fuck about any of this stuff. Good night. And then she kind of like goes back to sleep. But now Lister's like, okay, I'm going to behave. And so she sits there and she fumes some more and thinks about what she's going to do and how she's going to get revenge on us specifically in the future. And, oh yeah. And that's the end. That's the end of the story. So go ahead and like, share, subscribe, comment, and I'll catch you guys later.